I think, man, as I get older, and like you said, dude, like bill paying, like, or even for me, like from this angle, like where like I'm at, and Clay, the guitarist of Sluggers, at in Northern California, it's kind of the last stop before you're going up into Oregon. So like we, talking about DIY shit, like, we had to basically like materially hold up a scene for a long time. Like, oh, like we need an amp, like backlining shit, or like we're the ones like, oh shit, only 15 people showed up because it's a Monday in
Yeah.
Northern California, and this, it's certain time. So it's like, okay, so I'm gonna give the band $100, or fuck, the one venue in town we have fell through. We got to rent a generator. Like,
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review Podcast. I got a special guest today, all the way from California via the internet. We got Tommy of Slugger. I actually have the 10-inch. I didn't get the first press because I didn't catch the band until the second press was available. But I do have this, and I love this EP, 10-inch. I like 10-inch records. But yeah, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just busy as hell in life, but making it happen, man.
Bro, you ain't kidding. So I'm still like recovering. I was sick as a dog all week, man. And I ended up having to get so my job outside of all this stuff is like I told you earlier, bartending. And I usually only work like 1 or 2 days a week, just extra money, right? To make sure that all the bills are paid. They like called me up. They're like, hey, we have a situation. Can you work a little extra this week? I was like, yeah, no worries. At that point, I felt fine. Dude, they gave me like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, all in a row. And then I got sick on Wednesday, and I was like, oh no. And so I got hammered this week, dude. I got oh man, I'm still, yeah.
Yeah, I got that, man. I bounced in at a college bar for a while, like really small, divey though. So dude, it was like, yeah, the second one person in town got sick, bro, I got it. Like it was
yeah.
right over. That's for sure, man.
Man, it's funny. It's funny doing some of the stuff that I do. I get asked a lot about like, hey man, you don't drink or anything. How do you bartend? I'm like, well, bro, I had to take like 7 years away from that. I've been doing this for a long time. I had to stop. I couldn't bartend for a long time because I couldn't keep my nose clean. But it's easy once you get kind of. I don't even like drinking no more. Like I don't like beer anyways.
Well,
so like,
well, man, like that was one thing for me because I didn't drink when I bounced. And I mean it was pretty easy for me, bro, because there's nothing worse than being sober and having to like babysit hammered adults. Like I work with kids. I've worked in like special ed. I've done all kinds of stuff, man, and it feels less like I say this all the time, it feels less like babysitting than when you had like a 45-year-old adult man who is like a kid's being shitty because they had a bad day, bro. Like a 45-year-old adult man is like choosing consciously to be a prick, and I hate it, man. I hated it. It made me want to drink less.
I'm very fortunate. I work at a place called Alamo Draft House. It's a theater, and we have a separate bar. We have like a front bar, and that's what I do. I work at the front bar. So when you walk in to get tickets, if you just cut a right, you can come sit down with me and talk and have drinks. We have a full bar. We have 46 beers on tap, everything, right? Yeah, I've only had to cut off one person my entire, I don't know, year and a half there. And it was actually kind of recently. And it wasn't a bad situation, but it was getting that way. And I was like, I don't know what you had before you got here, but you've had 2 beers and you're like starting to slur your words and drool, buddy. You can't have anything else, man. And I just made the guy drink a glass of water, and I ordered him some cheese sticks and was like, just sit here for a little while, please. Like, I'm not going to let you leave. Like, it's just not an option. So, you can either argue with me about it, and then I'll just grab your t-shirt and hold you on the stool, or you can just chill and I'll buy you some food. And he was like, oh, I'll take the cheese sticks. And I was like, cool, thank you. Oh, goodness. Because I'm not a big dude. I'm only 5'8". So I was like, please don't make me have to do this. I'm too old for this shit. But so y'all are from California, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep, Northern California.
Whenever I was looking up your music a little while back, when I first kind of got a hold of the 10-inch record, it kept having to say Slugger California. Is that because there's another band called Slugger floating around somewhere, or was, or something?
Well, there's been, I mean, man, like every band name has been taken at this point by
Kind of,
somebody,
yeah.
and that was kind of like there was a couple things that went into that. One, like the label we were working with, we talked with them and we kind of decided to maybe differentiate ourselves. Like, there's like a couple other sluggers. I think there's like a classic rock cover band and like just a couple others.
Okay.
And, I mean, this was us coming out the gate. Like, we didn't even like that 10-inch was supposed to be our demo, so
Oh, wow.
we didn't have any name. Yeah, that's why it's all like DIY, like lo-fi shit. We thought we were gonna get a tape out of it. We ended up getting a 10-inch.
Bro, I love the way it sounds.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. But anyway, yeah, so there was that aspect, and then there was a couple bands, man, like back in the day in New York, there was New York Hoods, and there was and then out here in the Northwest, there was this band called Seattle's New Gods. And I just always like having like where you're from in the name of your band. So we thought, you know what, we'll just like loosely adopt that.
I like that even better now. Then it was like a conscious decision to be like, nah, California. Like,
yeah.
Being from Texas, I'm a super Texan. Like, but like,
yeah, man.
I respect that. Like, I like that a lot, man. That's awesome. I was just curious. I just saw it and was like, I wonder, because I wasn't really seeing a lot of other prominent bands with that name. So I was like, I wonder what the reasoning for it was. And like I said, I like that a lot better. I got a couple of random, really very random questions. I'm going to ask you these. We'll just keep going, man. So have you heard about this new Spotify thing that's happening? Because I feel like it affects bands like yours probably as much as anybody else. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, man, I'm not. I mean, I know Spotify's just always fuck their artists.
So, man, yes and no. It's a super complicated conversation. I'm not going to say that they haven't, but I'm also not going to just overtly agree that they did, because I think a lot of people assume a lot of stuff before they understand this thing, and myself included. I don't know a lot about it, which is why I don't have a lot of comments. But this thing that I'm talking about, I do know about, because I just read it and it was directly from them, and I was like, whoa.
Oh shit, okay.
So apparently, any artist that doesn't stream 1,000 streams over a 365-day period is not going to get royalties. Any money made is going to go to the other artists that are getting those streams, right?
Damn, okay.
My first thought was, that's crazy. How could you do that? And then I thought, wait a minute. As somebody who's been on YouTube for a little while now, I used to get a lot of people that would go, hey, can you review my music? Like a lot, like a dozen a week or so. And it was shocking to me because I wasn't a big channel really. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I don't really want to review every single artist that drops me some garbage thing they made at their house in their mom's room because they're 16. I think that's the same kind of thing, man. I think Spotify's like, hey, we're putting a bunch of energy into putting your stuff on our platform. It is now your job to promote that stuff and get these streams. Because once you hit 1,000, because 1,000 is not a lot, right?
It isn't.
It's weird, man. I feel like it's a very polarizing subject. I didn't think you'd really know much about it yet, because it kind of just dropped yesterday, I think. Was when the news kind of dropped, and I was like, wow, because I mean, I know a lot of bands, and I would say a lot of the bands that I know fit into that category of the less than 1,000 streams, because they're either new or they're just young people that aren't really quite there yet. And
yeah, man, I this, it reminds me a lot, and I don't know how I feel necessarily about it yet either, but it reminds me kind of like Bandcamp shit, because that's like the background. I being young, like you said, dude, like when I was figuring my shit out and before Spotify existed, like everything went up on Bandcamp. I really like that platform. I think people don't recognize that platform enough.
Oh, bro, that's like, all I use is Bandcamp
for carrying shit through, man, especially like mid, like late 2000s through the 2010s. Like Bandcamp, dude, like that's where, and still to this day, like that's where you go to find like the sick ass cuts. But
for sure,
there is a billion fucking bands, that they're like, that website's hosting them, and it's like now that people are figuring out how to get on Spotify, that whole like DistroKid shit is, more and more people are figuring that out. Like, you're gonna start seeing a lot of stuff getting hosted by Spotify. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's
so
maybe it'll help out bands and like help prop them up a little bit who are just getting going. Like
I think it might help smaller bands, dude. It sounds so negative at first, but if it's like, okay, well, if you as a consumer have a problem with this, don't use Spotify. Go to Bandcamp and spend the $4. Buy the EP on digital.
Right.
Like, you get it downloaded, you can do whatever you want with it at that point.
Yeah.
I now have some experience with this. I have a little label. We got a couple of releases. I now have more experience. I know how this all works now. It's
Yeah.
really simple. Like, it's very, you want to support the band and you have a problem with something like that, because in reality, Spotify's not really for small musicians. Spotify's really kind of for like radio stuff, like,
Yeah.
to me, like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like, you know, Epitaph and Fat Record stuff,
Yeah. More
but not like,
yeah.
I wouldn't put anything on Spotify and assume I would make a dent in their streams. I feel like I
Right.
would probably be pretty discouraged at the end of the day. But
Yeah. Yeah. If that was the goal, was to get, and what are you gonna get anyway? Like $2, you know, especially if you're under 1,000 listeners, you know, and like all kinds of, like me, man, like I have every year, dude, I'll like crank out some like side project or some shit that's just for fun.
yeah,
You know, like, and if that, like, I don't know, man, it's
no, I
hard
think
to say.
dude, I like your like natural response. I knew if I just threw that, it's kind of a curveball. I was like, I just want to see how you responded. I mean,
Yeah.
Because it, when I first thought of it, it made me kind of go, wow, it's kind of crazy. And then I was like, well, is it though? Like,
Yeah.
all these young kids are putting all these projects up on Spotify. They have to pay to host that stuff.
Right.
It's not free.
Right.
So, you know, and like you said, what are you going to get out of 1,000 streams anyways? $1 maybe?
Yeah.
Like, it's, I've always thought that artists have never really made money off of record sales. So streams, that's what that is record sales.
Right.
Like, even if you own all your stuff,
Mhm.
you can make a little money, but it's going to take a lot of time.
Right.
As in, like, putting in time to like create the albums is what I mean. Like,
Right.
like
Right.
to go record the music, make the art, get it pressed, put it together, ship it all out. So you're going to make money, but you're going to put in the hours.
Right.
So people usually got some income from live shows and merch, as far as I understood it. And at least when I was playing music, that's what we were looking forward to, is like the door and then some merch sales.
Yep. Yep.
But I don't know. It's a weird thing, because punk rockers kind of go, it's not about the money, but it is, man. I mean, you have to pay your bills. And
Yeah. I think, you know, man, as I get older, and like you said, dude, like bill paying, like, or even for me, like from this angle, like where like I'm at, and Clay, the guitarist of Sluggers, at in Northern California, it's kind of the last stop before you're going up into Oregon. So like we, you know, talking about DIY shit, like, you know, we had to basically like materially hold up a scene for a long time. You know, like, oh, like we need an amp, like backlining shit, or like we're the ones like, oh shit, only 15 people showed up because it's a Monday in
yeah,
Northern California, and this, you know, it's certain time. So it's like, okay, so I'm gonna give the band $100, or fuck, the one venue in town we have fell through, we got to rent a generator, like stuff like that. That it's like, you know, even if we're just talking about for the cause of like DIY punk rock shit, we're not talking about like buying anything, you know, like for fun. You
they're
know,
talking keeping it alive.
exactly, man. Like as I get older now, and like all my shit is kind of broken, you know, like, and I spent all this money and all this time, I'm like, you know, man, at least being able to like get my amp fixed, you know, with some money would be pretty badass. So, you know, where I am nervous about like people, you know, where the issue of like money and punk, I think, sucks ass, like bands making money, is like when the money that a band is making equals their legitimacy within the scene. And there's there's a lot of music critics, there's a lot of like Instagram pages, there's a lot of shit where I see people like only recognizing these bands because they got some level of commercial success. Like everyone thinks of the, like, you know, just to use a like a dumbass example, like everybody thinks of the Beatles is like the greatest rock band in the fucking world, but really that's only because they had all this money behind them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how many other sick ass like garage rock bands, like psych bands, whatever you want to say.
Oh no, for
You know,
sure. At least
and
in my opinion, I don't like the Beatles anyways. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I'm talking like the general like normie population. Like,
yeah.
Obviously,
No,
the punks are team fuck Beatles, but
yeah. I'm just saying, like in general, like I don't have a problem admitting that, because I'm not a fan of theirs anyways. I can look.
Right,
I don't
right.
have to look through rose-tinted glasses.
Right.
I can go, no, man. Are they good musicians? I would go as far as to say they're absolutely fantastic, great musicians.
Right.
Objectively, I don't
Yeah.
have to like their music to admit
Right.
that.
Right.
But if they were broke guys that had no money behind them, somebody else would have come along and been the Beatles.
And so, like, exactly, man. So, like, for me, I'm seeing a lot of people say shit like hardcore revival, like, oh my God, punk is back, all this shit. And I'm like, dude, there was so many dedicated fucking people and bands that were ripping and like, and at this time when all of these like all these like old heads and shit were like, oh, the scene's dead, hardcore is over, it was better back in my day. And like, meanwhile, like there's kids who are now in like now the big ass bands, like those fools were grinding this whole time. They had other bands. There were bands that influenced them.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
They were in other bands before they were in Kubla Khan. Freaking whatever, dude. What's the Arf Arf band?
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's
the one that has that song Arf Arf. Like, God, what is that song? What's that? Anyways, the people in the comments are gonna get so mad that I don't know that band. I don't listen to that kind of music very much. I listen to pretty much punk rock, oi, and like maybe like some like punk inspired hardcore stuff. Like I like Terror. I like Death Before Dishonor. That's the kind of hardcore I like. I don't like the really heavy metallic stuff. That's just not my jam. Except Hatebreed. I love Hatebreed. But like right there. But before they were in these bands that are huge, they were probably playing for a couple of years at least in like what we're talking about with shitty vans and crappy clubs before they got big. And even if they are big, how much money are they really making? Most of those dudes still have jobs.
Exactly.
Like, man. And so
exactly. And so like, I mean, I'm all about people getting paid, like compensated now, especially as I get older. Man. I'm cool with people getting compensated for their art, bro. Like if there's people making money as fucking Instagram influencers, like you should be able to make money for like spreading this wisdom and this music and shit. But when you equate commercial success with legitimacy, that's where I don't know, man. Like that's where I think the broader culture, like I say this all the time, man. Like when punk reaches like mainstream levels, are we making our culture better by getting more money to artists and shit like that, or are we making like the bigger culture better by like spreading this shit, or are we just making our shit worse because we're letting in this like outside like dare I say like fucking materialistic like capitalist mentality into like you have money that means you're good, and that's not the case always.
So I actually have like I like that you asked that question, and I have a immediate like just knee-jerk response, which would be it takes some of that bad to keep our scene thriving. So without some of that, it'll be way harder. So let me go ahead and have some of that in order to spread some funds around to the homies, because it's always going to go back down to an underground thing. Punk rock and hardcore is not normal. It is not. It is a subculture. It will always be a subculture at the end of the day. And so I'll take some Green Day, I'll take some MGK, because those are gateway bands, and we'll get some, it'll filter through just like anything else does, and we'll get the true believers, man. We'll have the people that go listen to Slugger or Bullshit Detector and find us through Bandcamp. That'll happen through bands like Green Day, MGK, Blink-182, whatever. It's okay. But there is a lot of shit that comes with that, though. And you deal with people that go, oh, Slugger and Ronnie Radke are the same thing. No, dude. Like, I don't have no problem with Ronnie Radke. I was just saying, like, who's the most famous like guy that I've ever heard called punk rock right now? I've heard people think of him as a punk rocker, and I'm like, that's not a punk rock guy. Like, he's cool. Like, I don't have no problems with Ronnie Radke, bro. I love you, Ronnie. Don't go at me, dude. Don't. That guy's super famous. Don't kill my channel, please. But that it actually, he kind of stands up for people a lot. Anyhow, but like, people equate those as the same thing. They think they don't really know what punk is. They don't really know what hardcore is. Right. And I got all kinds of crap for saying that the Ramones were like the original pop punk band, and that I thought Green Day was just as much of a punk rock band as they were a pop punk band. And they were like, how? I'm like, well, if the Ramones is a punk rock band, then that means that Green Day is. And if Green Day's a pop punk band, then that kind of means the Ramones were, because they all sound the same to me. Like, those two bands specifically sound very similar.
Yeah, man. And you know what, too? It's like, speaking of like, because we got to have a conversation about like trickle down punkonomics right now. Man, there's rumors that there's a couple venues that have been floated by some of those dudes, like in the Bay Area and shit. Like, and I can tell you this, like, I've been going to shows in like the Bay Area from NorCal, like making that trip since I was like 9 or 10 years old. My sister would take me, bro. Like, my first show was like Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Like I saw that
Let's
whole
go.
fucking, yeah, dude. I fucking beat up a bonehead at that show. I'm not even fucking kidding. Man. I
Let's
was 10
go.
years old. People don't believe that. That's a whole other story. But
I have no reason to not believe it. So sounds awesome.
fucking but you know, you go to some of those like underground club shows, like you go to like the Parkside or some like warehouse in Oakland or something, and there'd be members. Like I remember being at a show that like Jesse Michaels from Operation Ivy was there, like Mike Dirnt from Green Day was there, and
that's awesome.
Not that it was this like look at me kind of thing. It's like no, like those dudes were still supporting shit,
just hanging around,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, like just being because that's who they are. You know what I mean? So like I'm not gonna judge somebody like, you know, just for being in a successful band necessarily, or say like they're not punk.
Do you think that Green Day knew they were going to get that famous? Like really? Like you think that they were like, I got an idea. Let's start a punk rock band over here with Op Ivy, and we're gonna get famous. Like, yeah. Come on, dude.
Not initially, but I feel like at a certain point, man, like you could tell like there's some albums where you're like, okay, they're like trying to go. But you know what, man? Like,
yeah, but like,
but bands, right? There's great bands right now that are dropping those albums, and those albums are good, dude. Like,
yeah,
some of my favorite shit, man. Like Ceremony when they dropped
okay,
L-Shaped Man, dude. Like, I like L-Shaped Man more than I like early, like really early, like PV, like early 2000s Ceremony shit, dude. And that's kind of them, like, all right, we're gonna send this. I mean, you know. You know they're like trying to do different art shit or whatever, but like
yeah,
you know they're like we're trying to dunk this, we're trying to be a band and like make a living out of this. So here's the radio hit, you know, like
right. I mean,
you know what I
dude,
mean? Like if those dudes are supporting the scene, fuck it. Yeah,
there's always gonna be haters, no matter what you do. If you're good or you're bad, if you're famous, if you're not, if you're rich or you're poor, somebody's gonna hate you no matter what.
True.
So ultimately, you have to either trust the band or the artist or whatever, or don't.
Right.
Like I was just talking to somebody about Green Day because I do consider them like kind of like a punk rock and roll band. Like they're more like the one man army, like rock and roll style punk rock, but they're just like a punk rock band. Mm-hmm. And like this guy was like, how could you consider the punk rock? They've sold like millions of records. And I said, dude, I was just in Las Vegas and I was looking at this giant wall, and the wall was the last show Operation Ivy played. And you had Tim Armstrong, like, dude, like as a baby, bro. You had Jesse Michaels singing. You had Matt Freeman playing bass. And right behind Matt Freeman, you see a real young Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah.
Tell me how that guy is not a punk rock kid. Like, explain it to me, please. Because he got wealthy? Like, I would love, dude, please give me millions of dollars. I'll take it, bro. I'm out. I'm gone. Yeah. I got kids, bro. I want money for my family. Like,
as long as people are giving back, man. Like, as long as people are giving back, bro, like, it's good to me, dude. Like, it's good to me.
So for anybody out there that's wondering, Billy Joe Armstrong started a label when he was real young, and it was called Adeline Records, and he is the reason that I have one of my favorite bands because he discovered One Man Army. So like he's always been that kind of dude. And Tim Armstrong does Hellcat stuff, and he's got these Spotlight stuff that's come out. Dude, these guys they put in their time, man. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting subject though. People, the more popular you get, the people that liked you when you're really small tend to get sour, and I get it. Yeah. They want their band back,
and man, like that, but also too, like I think that, and dude, like any band, like, and maybe it's less like commercial success that does this and more just time, but honestly, man, like given enough time, like a band drops enough records, like they're gonna start stinking, man. They're gonna lose like they're gonna lose that like it happens naturally anyway, but I think especially when like punk bands get famous, man, it's just like the lifestyle and shit that once you get disconnected from that and you're just like living comfortably, I don't know, dude. I think it's like the spirit behind the music gets different, and
it has to.
Some people do it well, and some people do it not good, bro.
No, but where does punk rock and hardcore come from? Like hard times. It comes from blue collar life, rough, no money. That's where it comes from. The anger and the truth. Like, I mean, that's what these albums are called. And it's because they're angry and they're poor. That's why when you have bands that hit the age 35 and 40 and they got careers, they no longer put the albums out because they're like, oh, well, I'm not poor, broken, tired anymore.
Totally, man. Yeah, and you know what's great about punk is you said something earlier that reminded me of this too, that you almost have to have those big bands. Like every development in punk has been almost a fucking reaction to like the weakening of an aspect of it. Like punk got too full of itself and too commercial, right? Like,
okay, yeah,
you know, I'm thinking
yeah.
about fucking songs like Cockspar, where are they now, right?
Love them.
Like, hey, look, where, you know, all these people were saying this shit. Where the fuck are they now? Rudimentary Peni has that song. Ever realize that rock stars seem to lie so much? Joe Strummer once said he cared, but he never really gave a fuck. Like, you gotta have these figures that all like that keep that anger going, because what pisses you off more than somebody selling out like their morality, you know what I mean, or selling out like this thing
Very
that
little.
you hold so dear, bro. Like, that's why the you know, punk music, hardcore music just keeps getting crazier and it keeps getting more authentic in a lot of ways, is because there's always going to be like the band that blows up and then the Bandcamp band that's like in opposition, you know what I mean, or the label that's like, fuck this, dude, we're gonna go back to like this 80s shit or like this 90s shit or whatever it is. Well, you know what I mean? Like, it keeps it going.
I can put that into a certain, like, my experience with something like that would be this. I haven't worn like a battle vest in years. I'm just too fat. It just doesn't look good on me anymore. Like, but I still have one, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to my buddy. I was like, I might hang this up in my new shop, just like as an example of something that you can create with the stuff that's in my store. And my buddy goes, well, what would you sell that for? And I was like, $1,000. And he was like, what? And I was like, well, first, if I'm going to let go of it, it's going to have to be a ridiculous amount of money. I've had to think for a long time. Second, the only kind of asshole that want to buy something like that instead of make it themselves is somebody that has $1,000. So,
yeah, man, it's true.
I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all this stuff in here, right? And I just thought of it like, I don't know, Saturday night maybe. This is a brand new like idea that I think I can make it work. If you want this stuff, just come in and buy the patches and I'll help you make it. Like, I'll show you how to do it. I'll carry thread, sewing kits, not thread, floss, dental floss, like unwaxed dental floss, sewing kits. And then if you buy the patches and stuff, they're all cheap. Just bring your vest with you, man. I'll help you. I'll sew one on for you, show you how to do it, and then give you the shit to take home. Boom, done, data. You can do it yourself. And like, teach somebody to make it, dude. And then that way my $1,000 vest can just stay on the wall as an example, and I don't have to feel like a dickhead for selling it, because I would feel, bro, how would you feel selling that? I would feel like I would regret that immediately.
Man.
I can make money. I can make money anywhere. I can't make that again. I can't make the memories of my wife helping me fix something. Like, nah, dude. Like,
yeah, man. I have all my old punk shit, man. Like, you know, there's a lot of that shit I passed on, because that's like, you know, that's the cool thing about this culture, like punk shit, skinhead shit, like hardcore shit, is like passing that shit on, dude, to the youngsters. 100%. Like, you know, there's definitely some shirts that I've like outgrown that I passed on, or like fucking pairs of boots and stuff. Like, we got this fresh cut kid in town, and he's great, man. And he fucking rules. He's like in a band, he's booking shows and all this shit. He's like with the, you know, fuck Nazis thing and all that, dude. And so, dude, we just like pooled with all the homies. Like, you know, we got his ass boots, dude. Like, we got him like fucking, you know, Fred Perry shit. Like, we just dudded his ass out, because that's, you know, for a lot of us, man, that's like how it was for us. And that's what keeps, like, you know, I think that's the spirit of it that'll never get like TikTokified and shit, you know, because
that's how you know what's up. Like, that's how you know right there. Like, okay, who did that? Who did that and didn't put it on TikTok? You guys. You didn't put it on TikTok. No, even if you did put it on TikTok, like, who cares? Like, I don't personally find that weird. I think that's the way the world kind of works now. But like
you have a point, bro.
But like, I mean, that's exactly that. That's why when these people that are here right now that aren't going to be here in a couple of years, and whatever, dude, like, I don't know their circumstances. I don't know why. I'm not going to talk shit. But this is why there will be a foundational group of people. Like, when I had to leave the scene, I left for, dude, like 7 years, bro. Like, I was in a lot of trouble. I was doing a lot of stupid shit. I was in a lot of drugs, and I had to go. Well, I was like, when I went back to my first show, it took me like a whole year to get the courage to go back, because I was like, man, there's going to be people that want to kick my ass first off, but then I'm going to see. Well, because I mean, it's a long story, man. It was some nonsense, bro. I don't think I deserve to have my ass beat, but I understand why somebody would have thought that with some very people I was close with. This is some
Right.
stupid shit that I did, but I've made amends, you know, and I didn't get my ass kicked. So I mean, there's that.
That's
But
good,
like,
man.
but like you know, hey, I have no qualms with the fact that we make mistakes, dude. If you can't look
Right.
in the mirror and be like, all right, dude, that was on you, bro. You ain't worth my time anyway. So like,
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
pushing, bro. But
Yeah.
I went back and it was like I got to see the people that mattered. You see the ones that are still there. Like, I'm not gonna mention names because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but there's a couple of guys that like I was so excited when they walked in the door. I was like, this motherfucker in his like roughneck gear coming in here off on his weekend off, still jamming. Like, I was so happy to see these people still around, you know. And
Yeah, man.
there's gonna be waves, and it's okay, man. It's okay. I think that it's a really, some people need it for a short time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I personally need it forever, but some people need it for a year or two, and I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And there's always going to be those, like, there's always going to be the diehards, bro. There's always going to be the people who pass that torch on. And, like, you know, the more people who, even if, dude, like, yeah, even if they are like a fucking just a tourist for a minute, dude, like, those people, you know what? Okay, good. They sell out, bro. They get out of punk. They get into this upper middle class shit. They buy nice house, whatever. Hey, man, maybe if there's like the fucking coffee shop down the street that's doing like hardcore shows and kids are like naked moshing on each other, whatever is going to be going on in 2035, like they're going to be like a little bit more likely to say like, oh, I remember that shit. Like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
cause dude, girl, you know, again, man, Northern California was still very much when I was coming up, some of these towns, these smaller cities were like good old boy shit.
Oh,
Very
I'm from
like,
Texas, bro. I know
yeah,
all about that.
man. So it's like the second they like get a fucking whiff of like some subversive shit going on, dude, like the cops are there, the fucking Karens are like on the phone, like,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and they're shutting it down, and so, you know, all the kids just like play video games or get into fucking drugs. So like, or
Yeah.
white supremacy or whatever is waiting for them
Some kind of
when they
ignorance
don't
for
have
sure.
access to this shit. So to me, it's like, good, man. Like, let people be exposed to this. At least it'll be like less offensive to them, you know,
Right.
down the road, maybe. I don't know.
Well, the people that are the tourist types, they when they come in, they're I don't know, man. I think maybe because I was just brought up I was in a real bad way when I was young, man, and I got picked on a lot, and I
Yeah,
looked at
man.
things a little different, man, and I think that there is a need for every degree of like commitment in this culture. And
Yeah.
if you're going to be here for 2 years, but you show up to the shows, you buy the merch, you pay to get in, you tip your bartender, you don't leave trash in the parking lot, you don't double park. Like, okay, you're come on in, man. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be
Yeah.
a lifer because it's therapeutic. And sometimes people aren't fucked for their whole life.
Yeah, like
Me,
us.
yeah, dude. I mean, good for you.
Oh,
Get out and
man,
go
yeah.
do some normal shit. I can't do it, bro. It ain't. That's not how
Yeah.
the cards weren't. That's not the way my hand was dealt.
Me too,
So,
man.
and it's okay. I think a lot of people get so angry about it, and I don't understand, dude. Like, were they nice? Were they cool? Then because I've been to some people's houses, and like, because okay, I'm married to a normal chick, dude. Like, my wife
Yeah.
doesn't have a tattoo. Didn't listen to punk before we met. I met her at a grocery store. We worked together, like, and
Yeah.
so I've been to places, and it's interesting because we'll go to people's houses, or we have gone to some houses. We don't do much of that now. We live kind of out in the sticks now, but like, you go to a person's house and they're like a buttoned up regular type, right? And then you go, I'm gonna come by, we're gonna have dinner, hang out. And you go over there and you're like, yo, are these your records? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, you see like the Black Keys and then Amy Winehouse. You're like, okay, they're like below the surface level good music.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, Black Flag, that's kind of cool. Oh, Rancid album. Hey, you like Rancid? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Bro, it doesn't take much before you have them back at shows. So just like,
Yeah, dude.
chill, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like, you know, and it's one thing that pisses me off, dude, like, is seeing like old heads who used to tell me back in the day, like, why are you doing this shit? Like, scene's dead, like all these bands suck and all this shit. And now because punk has gotten a little bit bigger, they're like back into it all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
But you
Oh,
know, man,
yeah.
it's that last lap thing, because it's, you know, like if you have the birth defect, as you know, lifers do, where this is your shit and you just don't, like, you need it because you don't feel like you can just live a normal fucking existence without it.
Bro, not a chance.
And everyone seems like insane, you know, for not having some shit like this. Like, you know, it's kind of affirming, you know, to see those people like, you know, like, oh man, like punk is the sickest shit ever. And you're like, yeah, dude, I've been saying that. I've been saying it this whole time, motherfucker. Like,
no kidding,
like,
buddy.
Yeah, I was saying it when there was 5 people in the garage, and now that there's 500, it is fucking fast or whatever. Like, I'm still saying it, bro. I'm still screaming it. Fuck
bro,
you.
it is a fickle community. I mean,
yeah.
Look, dude, that's another thing about the real punks. Like, what kind of real punk are you if you're telling some kid that's not quite sure he wants to be here to not be here?
Yeah.
Like, get out of here, dude. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Alarm
for kids
going off.
especially.
Yeah, like especially kids. Like this fresh cut kid you're talking to. I could have just as easily heard a story of like, yeah, we had this young kid kicking around and he was a fucking poser. And so we whooped his ass and told him to get out of here. Like, nah, dude, like, don't do that, because then you won't have the kid that's going to put on the shows for you to come and stand on the back at because you're 46 years old. Like,
man.
I'm 41, bro. I need younger kids to put on the shows. I don't have the energy to do it anymore, man.
Dude.
Like,
yeah, I'm 29 and dude, I'm gassing out, bro. Like,
bro.
Yeah, you need to like, and as long as people are doing it the right way, like, and you're showing them and they're receptive, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't just like,
there are stipulations.
Yeah, of course, man. But like, you know, you don't gotta fucking bully kids more than is necessary.
No, there's got to be a little hazing. I get that, but like, you know, and I think that every crowd of people, like every local scene has those people though that are like kind of shitty. Like, I was at a show recently, and as a matter of fact, I was seeing Death Before Dishonor because I had Brian on the show, and he was like, "Hey, you coming up to Houston?" I said, "Bro, I wouldn't miss it, dude. I'll be there." And so I was hanging out with them, and there was a guy there that it was the strangest thing, dude. Like, he was looking at me, and he's like, "Man, you look familiar," and it took every bit of my strength inside to not tell him, yeah, man, you used to beat the shit out of me when I was like 20 years old, man. He's a big tough guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you used to like, not like, you know, bludgeon me to death, but like he would just smack me in the face, punch me in the back of the head, like just being mean because I was a street punk and he was a skinhead, and like our scene wasn't big enough to have 2 different shows. Like, we're all there together. And like, and I was like, yeah, I remember you. And I just shook his hand and was like, yeah, but like, yeah, I don't remember what the reason I was telling you that was. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, he was cool, man. He was a nice guy, and I bet it would be embarrassing if I brought it up to him. So we all grow up.
Well, you know, it's like, it's that shit, bro. Like, where, you know, man, like I've dealt with, you know, in every scene I've been a part of, you know, around like Northern California, like people who, you know, people who I don't like or necessarily want at fucking shows, and you know, but is it bad enough for me to like, you know, flex my nuts on them like that? Like, there's been a couple occasions when people had to get physically removed from shows.
I was like, depends on the reason.
Physically shown that they are not welcome. But you know, generally, man, it's like, dude, you know, I think especially at a show, like in shows and shit, it should be about the music. It should be about the bands and keeping this shit going. And you know, I never had much ability to, you know, I always had to keep myself in check on that. As, you know, even when I was younger and fucking gnarlier, when it was like, okay, like if I do this, like that's going to be great for my ego, but like I'm going to shut the only fucking venue in town that we have down, you know? So I gotta be real picky choosy about like that type of shit. And in my experience, man, like just being cool all the time, and you know, or you know, having a conversation if you have to, goes a lot further for building it.
Well,
you know,
that comes with your age of 29 and not 19, because you don't think like that when you're a kid. You think of like, even if it's a good reason, you're like, I'm gonna whoop that dude's ass. And if you have a good reason, it's still. But like when you're older, you're like, okay, do I want to do this? Because it is going to cause the club owner some problems. What if I really hurt the guy? I might end up in jail. Because I saw a guy. Okay, I didn't see it happen. I was at the place when it happened. Let me be very clear about that. I don't want to get some kind of, I don't know. But a dude got punched, fell back, cracked his dome open, and ultimately died.
Damn,
yeah. And the guy was, I don't know that he was like a bonehead, but he was a big prick. I wasn't shedding tears when he was gone. But the guy that did it, I mean, that was like 20 years ago. Like 16, 17 years ago. That dude's still in jail.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
that guy never is going to get out. I don't know if he's
Yep.
never going to get out, but he's probably, looking at his whole life is gone, bro. Like,
Yep.
so you got to think a little bit, man. Like, if there's a real good reason and it's worth the risk, then do it. Whatever, man. I'm not one to tell anybody to tuck tail and run, but like,
yeah.
What's
man,
your
big
oh, I'm
shit.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
What is your favorite thing? There's nothing better than going to like a show and just seeing everybody stoked, right? What's your favorite part about being involved with that? Like, do you like the show? You like the after the show? You like putting out records? Do you like distroing, flowering? What is your favorite part of being involved with your scene? Like, what is your thing that you, when you get asked to do it, you're like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Is it just playing the live shows, or is it being involved in it?
That's a great question. Hell, who knows? Man, I don't know, dude. It's I just like everything about it, man. Like I have less time now, so I got to be more like selective. But I love the whole process, dude. Because I've done like literally everything.
Right.
I think now though, man, like because it feels less critical to me. Like back in the day when it was like me and a core group of other people doing shit, and it felt so critical, dude. Like to be involved in every step of that process, like getting the flyer out, like making sure that shows were getting booked, because if not, there's not gonna be a fucking scene, and like kids aren't gonna know about this shit. So
right.
But now that I'm older, dude, and it's like there's younger kids who've taken over locally and around and shit, man. Like I think I really like just hanging out, man. I like the before and after show shit. I like talking to people. Like that's the whole reason I wanted to, one of the big reasons I got into it in the first place was because, I was a fucking alien at my school and got fucking bullied and jumped and all kinds of fucked up shit. And so it was, going to shows where it's like, oh man, like finally I get to talk to people who like get it. So like even this shit, dude, like it's what keeps me going, and it's what keeps me feeling less like a alien when I have to like pretend to be
right
a lot of the time,
yeah.
And talking about I like the philosophy about it, man. Like I'm like just the type of dude who digs deeper into shit. So I don't know, man. Like I just like the whole aspect of it. I think I really like seeing my friends kicking ass too. Like just
dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say, was watching my friends be successful.
Yeah,
like
dude. It gets
that's why I do everything that I do is based solely on that. Like I did tapes because I wanted to help a guy out. I work with these guys because they're my friends. Like I love seeing Liberty and Justice play because I've known Ryan for 20 years. Like so like that's so funny that we had the exact same thought, because I saw your brain working through it, and I was like, oh, he's thinking the exact same thing I'm thinking, because I don't think it's like
the team made it, man. It's like our fucking team. We're here. Like I love that, dude. I
like being the old head, bro, that just kind of hangs out and watches young kids hardcore dance and go, I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah,
like
dude.
I don't want to do it no more because I'm too old, but like it's dope to watch it. And I'm not gonna like run away from it, but I don't want to. I'm not super active like that. I'm just, my knees won't do it. But like it's fun going back and like seeing old friends and watching new bands play with bands that have people that I've known for a long time is cool too.
Yeah.
Just learning new stuff. I like all the behind the scenes stuff, dude. Teaching kids about stuff. Being alive is pretty amazing, because I tell you, there was some times where I should have been like no longer, and it's pretty cool being 40 years old and being like, yo, I got my own kids now, and like my daughter went to her first show. She's like 9 years old, and she went to see Streetlight Manifesto in a band called Cat. Dude, I know.
Cool, man.
In a band called Catbite out of Philly. Cool. And we went to that show because I know Catbite pretty well. And then I took her to see Days and Days. I wanted her to see a bunch of bands with like ladies involved.
Yeah.
And and now I'm taking, as the whole family, they don't really know this yet, so I can't scream it real loud, but because they're in the other room. But they're going to Austin next year to see Rancid's my favorite band, and so they're touring with Green Day. And I was like, that's a weird tour. I kind of want to go though. And the Linda Lindas are playing, who is an all-girl band. I was like,
right.
So I'm taking my kids to see Rancid, Green Day, and Linda Lindas, and we'll just go outside for the Smashing Pumpkins or something. I don't really care about that band, but I mean, do you Billy Corgan? But I'm not really. That's not my jam. But
that's a crazy lineup. That Smashing Pumpkins is on that too. That's kind of wild.
It's so strange.
That's like,
because if you take them off, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool, man. Hey, that's a sick ass show, dude. Like, I mean, my sisters took me, when I was a little ass kid. And she, man, she's not even involved in punk anymore. She lives in Texas now, and she's gonna
Oh,
come.
nice.
We're Slugger's playing in Texas in May, with Liberty and Justice and shit. So
Oh,
that's gonna be sick. I think it's May 25. I don't want to say that.
are you playing in Houston?
I don't know, man. We're playing somewhere in Texas. It hasn't really.
Okay.
I don't even know if I should have said anything about it. It's like
I can. You want me to take this out? Hold on.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Here, I'll write it down.
All right.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. That's why I record it and don't do it live. I'll ask Ryan though, because that's my dog, man. I love Ryan Taylor so much.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. But the point I was gonna make was my sister. She took me to my first show, and it was like, dude, it was me first in the Gimme Gimmes. I mean, it
awesome.
ended up being gnarlier, because I like got in a fight, but that shit inspired me, man. And she did different shit with her life, but man, like all like going to that first show, I think I was like 10 years old. Like from then on, bro, like in every time I closed my eyes, I just saw myself playing on that stage. And so
yes,
that type of shit, dude, like it could change. It really changes somebody's life. You know what I mean? And like getting kids involved in it early, bro. Like I think that's great, man. And giving them examples of like, hey, this is what your life can look like. Your life can look like this when you get old. Like just
some people are like, oh, I don't want that.
Right. And that's
I'm
fine.
Like, oh, dude, bring it on.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But just showing that's an option, dude. Like, because my greatest memories of my life have been in this shit, dude. Being on tour, being on the road.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Dude, like, that's a gift.
Outside of my kids and my wife, everything that I love is related to this scene. Like, to bring the conversation full circle, your sister, technically a tourist,
right,
left. You wouldn't even be here without her. So exactly, that's why I tell people, don't let that stuff be an issue. Right. That's a great way to bring that back, because it's a great example of why it matters that we have people that come in and then leave, because who knows what they might bring with them. Straight up, in a good way. I choose to be optimistic, man. Like there's got to be some good that comes out of it. Yeah. Like I love this stuff. I love doing the podcasting thing, man. This is like, I think this is what I was supposed to do. If I'd have known this years and years ago, I would have started doing this on like MySpace, man. I didn't think that back then. I was doing like, I want to be like in the band, right? And I don't think I was ever really supposed to do that. Like and I was in a band with Ryan, played bass in my band for a while. That's and cool. So like I had a really good lineup, dude. Like, yeah, man. I had great friends that did this stuff that still do it, and like I just don't think that was in my cards. And yeah, man, I had to like realize it and then be okay with it, because I'll tell you, I just found our like old EP that me and Ryan and everybody did, and like it stung a little bit listening to it, because I was like, damn, this was good. And I was like, damn, I messed that all up, bro. Like I'm telling you, man, I had the itch bad back then, bro. I was in a bad way on drugs, dude. It was rough, bro. I mean, how many of us were, right? Most of us. Yeah. But I so love doing the YouTube thing. It's so much fun. Listening to music.
and like, man, this type of shit, dude, being a kid from like small town, bro, just like scouring the internet, finding random videos and like getting into some of my favorite bands, because it just like coming across shit. Like you never know in this shit, like you're just leaving breadcrumbs, dude, for the next person to come along. And 100%. So that can be in the form of a band, or that could be in the form of this type of shit, dude. And the fact that you're still here doing it is like the important thing. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
And no matter like whatever, like I mean, this culture brings like so many broken people, bro. Like so much shit, like like drugs, like abuse, like all this shit, man. Like there's a lot of people who come to this stuff because of that. And like it's people's ability to like to keep going and to keep like, I don't know, man, like pushing it forward, like in a positive way. That I don't know, it brings people hope, bro. It's like experience, strength, and hope, dude. It's like it's life shit. It's human community shit. It's important.
On the same token, I want to know your opinion on this. So you said it brings broken people, right?
Right.
I've always thought people are like, man, punk rock needs to be more open and accepting. And I'm like, okay, while I agree that people need to be more open and accepting, punk rock has always been kind of a dangerous thing.
Right.
So when you come here and your feelings get hurt, I'm not necessarily okay with that, but you kind of have to expect some rough people.
Yeah,
You have
man.
to expect some hard times, and you have to expect a little bit of not really caring about your feelings.
Yeah,
And
man.
I how do you feel about that? Because I don't think people really get that.
I know I feel it, man. And like, you know, I'm a big ass dude, so I've never really been like scared at a show, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
so I have a different perspective on this. Like, before I give my opinion, I just gotta say that.
Yeah,
But
sure.
you know, man, like, I can't tell you how many times, bro. Like, and you know, going, I guess, back to the tourist thing, like, you know, you get like some upper middle class, like super educated kid who, you know, I whatever, they belong just as much as anybody else as long as they're cool. But they're coming into a situation where there's a lot of like working class people, a lot of like, you know, a lot of people from different cultures aside from their like upper middle class suburban white culture. And they start like throwing their weight around and trying to like police fucking like, you know, like multicultural working class people, bro. They're just doing the same shit that the rest of the country does, bro. They're like gentrifying the fucking neighborhood. And so to me,
You're
you
not
know,
wrong.
it's one of those things where I'll always hear somebody out, dude. Like, cause I, you know, in my scene especially, like it's, you know, it's I take a degree of ownership like of it, you know, like I want to make sure shit's cool. So like I'll try, you know, I'll peace broker as much as I can or whatever, and like I'll hear somebody out. And if there's some genuine like fuck shit going on, you know, I that sucks because I think we should try and make our communities like a place that are more accepting, more safe for people. But the reality of the world is there are no safe places. How, you know, there's wolves in sheep's clothing no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I would rather take the person who's rough around the edges, but at least you know is cool and isn't gonna like assault somebody or do, you know, but might say some shit that's not necessarily the
Yeah.
coolest, or you know, or like make some jokes or whatever. Like, you know, I'll take that person over the person who pretends to be like fucking, you know, it's like the dude, it's like the fucking priest, bro, like the PC,
Yep.
you know, like, oh, I could do no wrong because I put on this soft fucking image and I check all these boxes. Meanwhile, they're, you know, they're fucking doing bad shit at the DIY PC queer Skillshare, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that those type of people exist in every community. And it's hard to talk about because I don't want to come across as like insensitive to people who don't feel safe at shows or whatever. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, man, like you know, I think that there's a bigger conversation to be had. It's like you said about like people in general, you know.
Yep. I like that response. I think that a lot of people need to understand that it's a place for outcasts. It's a place for broken people.
Yeah.
That's our place. Just
Right.
because you want to be included doesn't necessarily mean you get to be. Like I said, I want to give everybody a fair shot. And this is
Right.
very contradicting to me to say this, I guess, but like it's a little bit of both, and you have to be able to accept that. Now, if they're just hanging out, not bothering anybody, then that's kind of my point. Leave them
Yeah.
alone. But
Yeah.
like, you can't come into a show and be like, you know, this is my first show, and I'm going to start telling this guy how to talk. How do you know that that guy isn't like some schizophrenic guy that we all take care of?
Yeah,
And
dude.
like, you know what I'm saying? That look, dude, the guy says some wild shit, but just
Yeah,
let him
dude.
be.
He's
And
cool,
he's like
bro.
really kind of kind of a chill dude, but he's
Yeah,
got
dude.
like some stuff going on. You
Yeah.
don't know, or
Yeah.
maybe that's the guy who was, you know, I don't know how to say this without getting like in trouble on YouTube, but like, you know, assaulted us to, you know, sexually assaulted. And now he's got some problems upstairs and he says wild stuff all the time. But he's also the guy that when you're outside crying on the steps, he'll sit next to you and go, "What's wrong, man? You all right?"
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
that's my experience is that the
Yeah.
people that are the most broken, while they're kind of wild and say some things that might offend some people, they always
Yeah.
have the most time to sit down and talk to you, man. I don't know.
It's
It's a
true.
weird thing. I
It's
don't know.
true. It's almost like who you say you are and who you actually are, like two different things, and you can't judge
Mhm.
it by its cover, bro. And I think that's you know, because like, you know, it's like, just to reiterate, man, like I've seen a lot of people who are rough around the edges, but who literally put their life on the fucking line. to fight, you know, the hatred, bigotry, white
Yep.
supremacy, what, like all this shit that these people on the internet are like saying that they do or saying that it's good, but they just might not check all the boxes. Whereas
Right.
I've known people who check all those boxes, check all the internet boxes, but deep down they're a piece of shit. They're a dangerous person who shouldn't be around
Yep.
other vulnerable people.
I
They
know
just
those
know how to
people
play the
too.
game, you know. So you know, it's a case by case basis, man. But I think
That's very true.
it's just important lessons that people got to learn in the world. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I always kind of feel like punk rock is it's not a safe place for you to come and just be your safe place. Like you can come
Right.
and be active in it and you can be safe there,
Yeah.
but and there's always room for improvement. But it's a place for the dejected, broken, hurt people to come and be themselves. I don't know. It's complicated. I don't think it's a black and white matter at all. It's very
Yeah.
gray area.
It's
I was
case
just
by case
curious.
and it's scene by scene, man. Because
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
dude, that's a
scenes
good
run
point.
themselves, bro. Like how they
That's a
want.
very good point. Yeah. Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to definitely, if you go somewhere and you're not from there and you're going to go to like do a show or whatever, it it makes all the difference in the world. I actually have a really good story about this. Like it makes all the sense in the world just to like find out what's up, like who's who, what can I do and what can I not do, or
Right.
just chill and be in the back. That's cool too.
Yeah.
Because there was that band Pride Kills from Houston by any chance?
I think. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I had actually forgotten that this song was about me, and they wrote a song about a band that came through. There were some things said, and the band responded in a really bad way, and then there was a fight. I'll leave it at that. Because they didn't know who was who and what was what, and they
Right.
didn't care to ask. So they got on stage trying to run their mouths. And it's like, bro, you can't do that when you're in a place where you're not familiar. Because
Yeah, dude. It's respect shit, bro. It's like, and that's the one thing that I like about DIY is that it's based like, or ideally, man, it's based on merit. It's like, what
yeah,
work have you put in? Because anybody can put in this work. Anybody can, man.
yeah,
Like,
for
you
sure.
know, like honestly, dude, like the softer you look, the more chance you have of landing a venue, like a coffee shop, being like,
Facts,
yeah,
bro.
we'll let you and your friends come through. You know what I mean? So like, anybody can do the work, and so I'm gonna show, you know, like being on tour, man. It's I try to show respect to whoever's running the spot, like,
Right,
you know, because they put in that fucking work. They're booking my band,
right.
you know, like, hey man, like, you know, unless it's like some genuinely like bad like green room shit, you know, but like, but
Yo,
but
that
but
movie's wild.
yeah, yeah, dude, it is. They whoever wrote that like had to have toured in a band, because that first,
Had to have.
dude, that beginning segment is, dude, it's fucking spot on, man. It's
Dude,
spot on.
so my favorite two punk rock, but let's pivot real quick. You got a minute still?
All right.
Dude, my favorite two punk rock movies are Green Room and SLC Punk.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, man.
when you're talking about soft guys, I like the dude that's in the TV shows now. What's his name? He's the nerdy guy in SLC
Yeah,
Punk.
yeah, their like nerdy friend in SLC Punk. Yeah, he's like
That dude is
snarky.
like, he's like the most punk rock guy in the whole crew.
Yep,
He
yep.
beats the shit out of people. Like,
Yeah, dude, and it's like the blue haired spiky like, fuck you mom guy that sells out at the end. You know, like
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
people shit on that movie, and it's
oh,
like
I love
almost,
that movie.
dude, I love it, man. I love that movie,
Dude, that's
bro.
where
I
I
love
heard
any
about
punk rock
Fear.
movie.
I heard
What?
Fear for the first time as a little kid watching
Yeah,
SLC Punk. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah,
dude, that movie rules.
yeah. It's
Green
sick.
Room is a great movie though. That's
It
probably
is.
like SLC Punk's like probably my favorite, but I think Green Room might be the better movie because
Yeah,
like it's kind of crazy. Like that stuff's not really happening like that, but I can see a situation where it could be close to that.
yeah, man. I
Like,
mean, I've talked to people who toured like Europe back in the day and shit, like vans breaking down right in front of the compound, brother, you know,
oh,
like shit like that going on. Like,
uh,
I mean,
that would be
yeah,
so
dude.
scary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, there was, you know, I guess to our knowledge, there was never a historical like battle, but I mean, dude, shit's happened, man. Like, I knew a guy who was, let's see, he was a Cleveland dude back in the day,
okay,
and he was on tour with some straight edge band, um, in the, you know, like the '90s. and they were in Utah, and and you know, everything was done through like fucking calling on phones. And
Right.
they had this like this straight edge connect somewhere out in fucking Utah. They boogie out there, and then there's just fucking boneheads at the show, bro. And they're like one and the same. It's like the whole straight edge scene got fucking flipped to bonehead world.
Yo.
And there was a fight, like there was all kinds of so that shit happened, man. Like back in the day when
That's
those
so
schools
crazy.
have more of a presence, man. It's crazy, man. I don't think people know half. I don't even know half the history of how much that shit had infiltrated the scene, bro. Especially back in the day. It's just insane. You talk to anybody who was around, man. You probably know more about it than me. You know, like
I've seen some stuff. I'm not going to really talk about it because it would take an hour and a half. But like, dude. I mean, I've been involved in some stuff that was like, in hindsight, why did I do that? That was so stupid and scary. Like I should have really behaved. But it was like I felt a certain kind of way when something happened. Like, namely when I got like a certain kind of salute by a guy. And I'm like, you don't fucking know me, bro. Like, why would you throw that at me?
Yeah.
And then
that, dude. On site,
half an hour later, he's laid on top of a pickup truck on the hood of a truck, just leaking, bro. And I'm just like, I'm inside watching 100 Demons. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Like it was, bro. And man, Texas is a wild place, bro. We got, because like our core is like super awesome, like really awesome. But then you have like this little outskirt of it that people say stuff, and I'm like, yo, it is 2023, bro. Like where I'm at right now, I'm putting this asshole on blast because I don't care. My next door neighbor, bro. I live out here, and I'm like, I moved out here because my family lives out here. I want to be close to my mom. She's getting old, right? And it's more affordable. So I was like, okay, I have 3 kids. I came out here, I visited it, and it's very what's the word? Like lots of different people from different backgrounds out here. Lots of Latino, lots of black dudes, lots of white dudes, lots of everybody out here. I was like, oh, okay, this is way more mixed than I was expecting. I like this. Like, I lived in the hood, bro, so I'm used to being like the only white guy. So the fact that this was a super mixed bag, I was like, I like this, man. I was expecting my brother-in-law is black, so my nephew. I thought, okay, cool, man. There's all kinds of people out here, and I was expecting it to be real chill. And so, like about 3-4 weeks in the move, and I've only been out here like right now, like 3 months. So like 3 or 4 weeks into it, I'm meeting my neighbor next door. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Randall, and I shake their hands, and I guess it's the girl's dad or something, and he's outside talking, and the dude just drops the N-bomb like right in my face. And I was like, huh? And he goes, what? And I was like, bro, you can't. And I was like, what? And I was so shook. I was like, and I was like, I can't do it, bro. And I just walked in the house, slammed my front door. My wife's like, what's wrong? And I was like, did you talk to that guy yet? And she's like, I don't think he lives there. I was like, I hope not. I can't live next door to a guy like that.
He's not gonna live there for long, bro.
Bro, I was so shocked. And like, and I haven't seen him, but maybe once since then. I don't think he does live there. I think his daughter lives there. But like, I don't even talk to her no more. I won't say hi. I'm not trying to be mean, bro, but I can't, because it's gonna come up. If I start talking to her, that's gonna come up in conversation. And so I'm just like, well,
man. No, man, fucking Northern California, dude. It's people think California is
super liberal, but it's everybody got the sticks, dude.
Yeah, bro, it's Calabama up here, man. Like there's some spots, bro. There's some like you wouldn't believe it, because back in the day, so the big city north of the Bay Area is and they had their problems too, but Sacramento.
Oh yeah, hoods from Sacramento,
bro. You got all the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. That's all like old gold mining country. Like, when the boneheads got kicked out of Sacramento by sharps and punks who fought back against those motherfuckers, they all went up into the hills, bro. And
I guess so, huh?
There's some deep, crazy shit up there. Like that's one of the things we primarily do, being, because Chico is outside of Sac, like we're just fucking trying to get kids out of that shit. We're trying to get kids alternative, and to like be against that, man, because it's bad, bro. Like bad shit happens.
That's the scary thing. I don't understand how in 2023 somebody can still think that way.
Yeah, man.
Until you talk to some of them, because they're like warped. They're not even in 2023, bro. They're in like 1960.
Yeah, like 1942.
they're in like for sure. And it's like, I don't really understand it, man. And I think, that's a whole nother dude,
bro.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy,
I wish
man.
people.
It's disheartening. It sucks to see that shit. It sucks.
How do you feel being like a skinhead, knowing that when your average Joe hears the word skinhead, they think the wrong thing. Like, what do you think can be done about that? Should be done about that?
Oh shit, man, that's a good question. Well, man, like I, even going back, like I was punk when I was fucking 9, 10 years old, bro. Spiky green hair in a small town, getting called all kinds of names, getting fucking violence and fucking all kinds of shit, bro. Like, so, I was already used to just people hating my ass just for
Right.
being who I am. Um,
You're not wrong.
man, but in the sticks, dude, like for a long time for me, it was more like it was it. I was less concerned about normies recognizing me and more like flying that flag that fucking boneheads and like and Peckerwoods and shit would recognize me as like
That's a good point.
as like a banging on him thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because dude, it's, like, and I mean, you can gussy it up and be like more traditional and shit, like whatever. But you're fucking wearing boots and braces out in public, like yeah, most people are gonna think you're a fucking bonehead.
Yeah.
And you're fucking, especially depending on the area you're in, you're flying that flag for fucking for boneheads. So you're catching it from both ways, man, and it's a lot, bro. Like I lived that fucking on the street all the time type shit for many years, and it's a lot, dude. And now that, because now I'm working with kids, so it's a little different for me, and it's a weird place to be in, because I gotta like have like a little bit of hair, and like I'm wearing like my Ben Sherman button up and like my like short, like I gotta
Yeah.
kind of, I can't be like fucking big head, like looking like a fucking street thug the whole fucking time at school,
Yeah,
with
you can't be like a hooligan necessarily. Like,
yeah,
even if you want to be.
yeah, as much, yeah, and but it's a different role, bro, because in there, like, I'm doing the same shit, bro. I've dedicated my entire life to fighting fucking white supremacy, bro. So,
That's amazing.
to me, man, in like all my like to me, dude, part of me doesn't think that it should ever, like, the public should ever fucking really fully know, because it's gang shit, man. It's gang shit. Like it's just what it is. That's a part of it. It's always been a part of it. I think that's why skinhead didn't devolve into some like irrelevant fucking rockabilly ass subcultures, because it's relevant. It's been relevant in America, especially fighting
Yeah.
against that shit, bro. We might all be speaking German right now, like if those fools were able to radicalize
Right.
like all of the alternative subculture in America. Like, think about what that would have fucking looked like. Like, if
Yeah,
fucking
that's crazy.
Train now was like a fucking right wing fucking white power band or some shit. Because in Italy, bro, they got Nazi pop punk bands and shit. Like,
Shut the fuck up. Are you
yeah,
serious?
bro. There's Nazi pop punk bands who have they have like whole and and the government now has gone
Bro,
fascist and shit. Like,
I can't even like fathom that.
yeah. I mean, it's people think it's trivial, just subculture shit, but
That's crazy.
it's fucking not, man. Like, this shit.
Oh, over there, it's
you know?
different in Europe, man. Europe,
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of experience, so I'm not.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's a little different over there. They think different, and different things are accepted. People that cry about the U.S. being unfair and like not accepting, they need to go do some traveling, because I've only read stuff, and I can tell you that we're in a pretty good place. Are we perfect? But not by a mile. But bro, like, the world's a weird place, bro.
It is, man. But to get back to your question, man, about skinhead shit, bro. Like, I never really gave a fuck. Like, people are gonna think what they think. Like,
that's also true.
Like,
I mean,
they can think what they want, man. Like, I know who I am, and like, I'll tell you what, man. I was raised to never judge a book by its cover, and I was raised to always fight for what's right. Always fucking fight for what's right. Like, make sure you're right, but when you know it's right, you throw your nuts at it. So I know who I am, and
Facts.
that's what I mean, and I know who my friends are, and that's cool.
Yeah,
Me,
well,
bro. And there's a lot more sharps walking around than there are fucking boneheads now, too. So
I would agree with that without even having to really think about it. And the reason I asked that question is because over the past I don't know, 7 months or so, I've been doing this interview thing almost every week with somebody, and excuse me, I've talked to specifically John of Empire Down and Adam of CMI about the fact that when I was like all the way up to like age 30, it was like street punk stuff. That was it, right? with the exception of like the Dropkick Murphys, the Business, Agnostic Front, Sick of It All,
Yeah.
those bands. But like as I get older, I find bands like Slugger, Liberty and Justice, CMI, BSD, all these bands that I'm like, oh, I relate more to this now. Now I'm never gonna be like I'm a skinhead because that's just I'm just not. I'm a punk rock guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I relate more to this music, so I've gotten more interested in it. I've listened to more of it. I've put it out on a label now. I talk to a lot more of you guys than I do anybody else. So like I've gotten to just be what's the word, man? I don't want to say involved, but like aware that some of these problems exist. So I'm always curious because I find that I constantly have to like correct people like, hold on, bro. Skinhead and Nazi are not the same words, my guy. Like those are not the same words. Like, please stop with your ignorance. Like, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting. That's why I was like, man, how do these guys deal with this? Because like I'm just like a homie, and I'm like, bro, just shut up, man. Like that's not what that means, you know. But I guess not really caring and having it very obvious to the people that know what's up is more important than some dude in a suit that actually doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, because they're gonna like see you and fucking judge you, and they're gonna move on with their life, and they're not gonna do anything to actually correct the fucking problem, you know.
Right.
And like it's a convenient, you know, it's like a convenient scapegoat, bro. Like, you know, you go back into the 90s with the way that the media, you know, what was painting the narrative around racist and anti-racist skinheads, and like, you know, they you know, and I just said it a bit ago, but you know, they portrayed it as purely just gang shit, and it's like all skinheads and they're all bad and they're all kind of like racist or whatever, even though absolutely not true. But the media at that time, when the world was forming its ideas about what skinheads were, they completely ignored the anti-racist side of it.
They ignored the roots of it.
They you know, and they played up the Nazi shit. So
yeah,
I mean, or they ignored the roots, but they also ignored the people at the time who were in direct opposition to the rise of white power shit. So because it didn't sell, because you know
it wasn't sensationalized.
Yeah,
they wanted the stuff that scared you, and they wanted the stuff that made a good headline. Not oh, and by the way, these guys are beating the shit out of these guys. So you think you're scared? Don't worry about it. There's people protecting you. Don't even worry. Like, because in reality, that's kind of what it is. If you think about it,
and they weren't taking this shit seriously, man. Like they like no, they weren't taking what was actually happening. And the movement, the fucking white power movement that was building and is still building, they weren't taking it seriously. And so I think that's why there's a lot of I don't know, for me, like, and a lot of my friends and shit, like that like average normie, like liberal view of shit is just completely irrelevant to us, because you know nobody took it fucking seriously until it's like a hashtag, you know, to you know, like punch a Nazi, like, yeah, like,
dude, I know. And you're like, dude, like, our country's such a weird place right now. I'm pretty concerned, but at the same time, I only have so much that I can and am willing to do. Like outside of like my friends and family, there's a couple of small groups I'm willing to help still. After that, bro, I can't do much because I don't have the monetary means to do so. I don't have the time to do so. And I think people have this weird idea of like, you can help anybody you want to. Fuck, you can. What are you talking about, man? Fix you first. This is the problem with our country right now. We're not fixing us. We're fixing others. Like, stop what we're doing. Fix us, and then we can help people when we're better. Like,
man. Everyone wants to bitch. Everyone wants to, and like, you know, I mean, raising awareness is good, whatever. But like, dude, at the end of the day, man, there's so many fucking problems just right outside our door in our communities. Like, you know, it's bigger than us individually, man. But like, you know, and maybe that's why I like punk, is just like DIY shit is something I always go back to, is because it's, you know, you're getting together with people, you're talking about solutions, man. You're like, you're making action, you're living your life in a way that's meant to be moving towards, like, at the very least, living an alternative lifestyle from the one that birthed all this bullshit. So I don't know, man. You can only do what you can do. And you gotta recognize your role. I think that's part of it. Like, it's just
absolutely. And if you can do something, you should, but people need to have the proper expectations and quit thinking that you can do things you can't do. But I mean, there's always going to be this connection. Like, I mean, you and I, as an example, we had never met, and we just sat down and had a really great conversation.
Yeah, man.
It's because we have this stuff that's like inside of us. It's in our bones and our DNA. Like, no matter where I go, when I went to Las Vegas, that was my first time to ever travel. I've never left Texas before. I've never flown until like 2 weeks ago.
Damn, man.
I was walking around Vegas. I know, dude. Yeah, dude, flying scared the shit out of me. I'm walking around Vegas, and I went to the Punk Rock Museum. I specifically went because I wanted to see if they actually had a Tim Armstrong's guitar. Because I didn't believe it. I was like, "There's no way you can walk in there and hold it." You can. It's no, dude. It's wild, bro. Like, yeah. So, but it was cool because I was in a place I'd never met a single person. Yet when I was there, I probably talked to, I don't know, a dozen people over the course of like 5 days that I had like more than a hello. You know, it's like a conversation because they saw me, saw a shirt I was wearing, or saw like a tattoo that I had, and they were like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And it was just like "What's going on, my man? How you doing?"
Yep.
And it's like that's a real thing that we have that a lot of other places don't. I hate to equate it to like gang culture, but it kind of is like that. You go somewhere and you have people that you know.
Yeah.
Those are your fucking homies right there. Like, those are your friends.
It's the secret handshake, man. It's the secret handshake, you know, like it's great.
It's interesting, man.
I love that aspect about it.
So before I let you go, I want to ask you a little bit about your band because we didn't really talk about the band much.
Yeah, dude, we just been riffing, man.
Dude, it was awesome. So, okay. Do you have more music than the 10-inch available?
Yeah, man, we have a 7-inch called Rabid Dogs that came.
I'm so stupid. I know about that.
You're good, man. No worries. No worries. You're totally good, man. And we got so yeah, it's the 10-inch and then the 7-inch. We have a song coming out on a comp here in a little bit. I'm not sure when they're announcing. I can't say too much about that.
Sure.
And then there's some other like bigger shit that I can't say a whole lot about.
Yeah.
But we're working on stuff, man. We're doing the fucking thing, man. We're doing.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
So what are your goals? Like, what do you guys ultimately, if I could give you like an end date and say, hey man, in 3 years, Slugger will be over with, what do you hope you accomplish within that time?
Man, well, I'd like to get an LP out. I'd like to tour the East Coast. I've never been to the East Coast.
Let's go.
I'd love to do a Midwest and maybe like Southwest tour.
Okay.
I'm fucking stoked to play Texas. Then we got that, you know, I'd like to do East Coast, fucking Midwest, Southwest, and then Europe, dude. Like I want to go.
I was waiting for Europe because I knew
we want to go so bad, man. That's like I don't know, man. We've been talking about it for a long time with a lot of our different bands, but Europe's kind of like the big prize. But we want to do it right when we do it.
That's cool, man. I really enjoy your music a lot. I think that if you just keep doing it, it'll happen.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. What are there any other bands out there where you're at that maybe are either just getting started, maybe have something on Bandcamp where I can throw people at, like say, hey, go check this out?
Any other of my projects?
No, well, your projects or anybody that you're around you, like friends and
homies. For sure. Yeah. Okay, give me a sec. Let me think.
I'm gonna write something down.
First one is Sedition. They're on Spotify, man. How
do I spell that?
SEDIT.
Okay.
ION.
Perfect. That's what I thought.
Sedition. Okay. And that's the young homies in Chico, man. It's just like hardcore punk shit.
Nice.
And they kick ass. They're booking shows, man. They've like taken over. That's like NorCal shit. Another NorCal band I got to shout out is Level, LEVEL. They're like homies. They're a power violence band, but it's all part of our shit. They're like hardcore power violence shit.
Every scene has that mixture, dude. We all have,
yeah, man. Dude, there's a band. I don't know them, but there's a band No Guard that's kind of badass. They're from Illinois. No Guard's cool. They're like an oi band, like young fools just doing the fucking thing.
Nice.
Getting me stoked. And then we're gonna be doing a run with a band called Defective Chain from Sacramento. That's the homie. Ben Paulson is in that. He was in Set It Straight back in the day, NorCal shit. And then there's a band, and then we're gonna be doing a run with Repeat Offender too.
That's a good name.
Yeah, from LA, and they're sick. Most of those are hardcore bands, but that's the shit, you know. That's what we're digging right now.
Dude, I'm doing this thing. I want your opinion on this. I'm doing this thing that I say I'm doing it. I'm starting it like literally today. I've been trying to figure out how to do this for like 3 or 4 months, but I wanted to spotlight bands that I just find either on Bandcamp or on
Yeah.
YouTube or whatever. I think I'm just gonna call it like the spotlight, and I'm gonna talk for like a minute, like, hey, what's up? This is this band, they're from here. I'm gonna play whatever I have available, if it's a song or if it's a 7-inch or if it's an LP, play the whole thing, then I'm gonna review it. Bro, there's so many great bands out there.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I think that if my channel can grow a little bit, that might actually be something that'll help somebody some way, somehow.
Yeah, dude. It's a great time, dude. It's a great time for
I'm having the most fun.
Yeah, for punk music, bro. It's great. Yeah.
What are your favorite bands right now? Like, okay, how do I ask this question to make it not something super long? What are a couple of like your all-time favorites, and what are you listening to right now? Just a couple of each.
Shit, man. Well, fuck, dude. All right. All-time favorites gotta be Bad Brains, number one.
Let's go.
That's like always my number one, bro.
Dude, I did not expect you to say Bad Brains.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite band. Yeah,
that's
dude,
awesome.
I got Don't Sway to the Unjust, dude, on my neck, bro. That's
awesome.
So yeah, that's good. And then and then Blitz, dude. I've been on a Blitz kick lately again, man. That just nothing holds up to fucking Voice of a Generation for me. I mean, and like some of the demos. Those are all-time favorites. Bands that I'm jamming right now, ones that are getting like a lot of play in my household, Castillo, members of Repeat Offender, bro. If you haven't fucked Castillo yet, CASTILLO.
That's what I thought. Okay,
cool. Band, dude. From like LA, Long Beach, bro. That band is Castillo's great.
Nice.
And then also, and we're playing with them soon. Spiritual Cramp, from San Francisco. They just dropped a new release that to me kicks ass.
Did you say Camp, CAMP?
Cramp.
Okay,
Spiritual
that's why.
Cramp.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, dude. The Cramp, man. They're fucking sick, dude. It's different. It's like it's a little more eclectic. It's like there's a lot of post-punk influence, like some garagey shit. I don't know. It's just like sick ass rock and roll, bro.
Hey,
but
good music's good music.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that shit. Castillo and Spiritual Cramp, dude. Those are the bands I've been listening to lately a lot.
Hell yeah, dude. I got a lot of stuff to listen to today. Okay. Last question. This is a weird one, bro.
All right.
So if you were out on tour and you got attacked by ninjas, what band would you want to have on tour with you?
Oh shit, that's a good one, dude. That's a good question. Man. Let's see, dude. Fucking well, I want my boy Danny to be there. And he does a lot of roadie, like he roadies for Tsunami a lot. So I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't mind having mind having Tsunami on tour with us. At that point, fucking man, I saw one of the, I won't say a whole lot, but one of the members of that band, Sedition, took on a bunch of fools at a show, and
word,
so maybe Sedition, bro. I don't know.
Let's go.
They might be hard bodies, bro. They're young, but they might be hard bodies.
Dude, I was thinking about that, and there's a local band down here called, they're no longer around, Pride Kills, and like I know them dudes since high school, and I was like, my first thought was like, I want Gabe with me if like something like that happens.
Dude. Like, yeah, man. So yeah, those also, there's a band from LA too called Problem, and there's some down motherfuckers, dude, bro.
With a name like that, you gotta be hard.
Yeah, Problem. That's another band to check. That's another band to check out
like
too.
That.
Yeah, Problem from LA, man. That they do just straight 80s shit, man. They nail it. But yeah, that might be a band too.
I was thinking of like it'd be nice to have Adam from CMI. That dude's yoked. And then,
they do.
And then maybe the dudes from Section Hate, like somebody grimy. Yeah. Somebody might have a switchblade with them. Like,
yeah, it might be a move, man. Yeah, a lot of California bands though, honestly.
Yeah, for sure, man.
A lot of California bands on that list.
Dude, you got to end it on a high note, on something fun, man. We can't be too serious all the time. But dude, it's been a hell of fun talking with you, Tommy.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna keep in touch, bro. I'm gonna keep watching your stuff, and if you have another thing drop at some point, I'm gonna reach back out. We'll do it again. And
man. Let me know.
If you ever need if you ever need like tapes or something done, let me know. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just down to help people out, bro. So like, I love collecting tapes. So like, I like putting them out.
I'm a tape man too, man. I'll keep that in
Bro,
mind.
I love it. Yo, send me like a PO box or something, wherever I can send a couple things to. I'll send you some shit.
I love that, man. I will. I'll shoot you a text.
Awesome, dude. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Go check out Slugger, California. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that shit. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.